Okay, now let's move forward to the last and final day of AI-103 course. And today we are going to focus on developing AI apps and agents on Azure with extracting insights from visual data in Azure. Basically, we are going to focus on information extraction and knowledge mining. And that's something which is a focus of the day today. But let's just start it with this. I hope you remember that we have covered so many modules in which we have focused on generative AI and agents, text and languages, computer speech kind of thing. For this particular day today, we are going to focus on computer vision and information extraction. These are the final two modules which are basically having 25% weightage of AI 103 course. And that's exactly what we are going to focus now. So without wasting time, let's just get started with our first module for this. Okay, so let's start with develop a vision-enabled generative AI application. Now, computer vision is one of the capability of AI, which is basically allowing you to provide visual input, provide some images or camera feed kind of thing input, and then interpret that. As well as it's also going to be focusing on collaboration and integration with generative AI, where you can generate images, videos, and likewise. Now, these are all things which we're going to focus in this. But let's start with developing a vision-enabled generative AI application. Now, up to this point, whenever you are using generative AI, we have used an input prompt. And when we provide an input prompt in a textual format, we will get the response from our language model. Now, in our case, right now, first thing which we're going to see is we're going to focus on multimodal models for a text and image data. Now, you can provide text prompts, you can provide image prompts, and you can also provide multimodal prompts. Typically, multimodal prompts are for vision-based input, which includes multiple parts. For example, a text part and an image part. In this case, you're going to provide both of these things. For example, if you see in the screenshot, we may be going to provide one particular image. So we'll upload one image. This is an image of a mango. And then I'm not going to say this is a mango, but I'm just going to upload an image. And then I'm going to provide a prompt like, what desserts could I make with this? When I put this thing, it's going to capture this particular image object. It's going to identify that this is mango. And based on that, it's going to show me desserts which I can make with mango, basically. So this is basically a multimodal prompt where you're going to combine text and image both in the input. How exactly this is going to work? Well, the code is here. You can use the chat completions API or responses API, whichever you want. But in both of these cases, you will be able to provide image-based prompts. Now you can see right now, I'm showing you a comparison between the code syntaxes of both the options. As you can see, loading image kind of a code is exactly same. While creating a URL, basically, if you want to provide an image into the prompt, you have to provide an image either through a URL or maybe you're going to provide directly image as a binary data. In my case, I'm taking it from the particular URL path and then I'm converting that into a base64 encoding. These things are also same. Only when you're dealing with the call API section, this is the one which is getting changed. Here we are dealing with client.chat.completions.create, while in the other case, we are focusing on client.responses.create. In both the cases, if you see, by following two different syntaxes, we are actually trying to pass on some kind of a user text kind of a prompt. Plus, with that, we're also passing the image URL. This image URL is going to be combined with the text prompt and it's going to give you the response based on that. And that's what multimodal prompt is all about. Now, this is showing you a responses API for image-based prompt. This is the same kind of a code which we have seen in the previous slide. It was comparing this thing. Now, if I provide an image URL, which is maybe some kind of a mango or some other kind of a fruit, this is right now showing you a sample where I have uploaded dragonfruit.jpg file. And it's going to give me a response that the fruit in the image is dragon fruit. Here are some of the recipes which you can try. Maybe you can try dragon fruit sobat or maybe dragon fruit parfait. Now, all those things are basically the responses which we are showing you. And the code syntax is basically very similar to what we have seen in the previous slide. While this is a chat completion API for image-based prompt, and let's say I'm just providing an image path with orange.jpg, another image actually, and based on that, it's going to show me that the fruit in this image is actually orange, and you can use it to make orange juice or maybe marmalade and orange sorbet. Now, this is something which is there. Now, obviously, we will be trying this thing in the lab, and that's where you will be able to understand in a better way. This time, when you're dealing with this particular lab is going to allow you to deal with the multimodal prompts, and that's how it's going to be working. Now, before you do the lab, let's go for the knowledge check. So this is the time you can pause your video, and then once you're ready with your guesses, with your answers, then you can resume it. Question number 1. What kind of model can you use to respond visual input? The answer is multimodal models. Question number 2. How should you submit a prompt that asks a model to analyze an image? Then answer is submit a prompt that contains a multi-part user message containing both text content and image content. And 3. How can you include an image in a message? The answer is either as a URL or as a binary data. Okay, so now it's the time to move forward to next lab, which is developing vision-enabled chat app. Now, so far we have created a chat app, but this time this is going to be a vision-enabled chat app, which means that we will be focusing on providing input with the help of text as well as images as well. So this is going to be a vision-enabled chat app in which we will provide input in a form of images. Now, as you can see right now, I have logged into my lab environment. I have my Microsoft Foundry project, which is just now created. So this is a newly created project. I do not have any kind of a model inside this. So as usual, the first thing which I'm going to do is I'm going to create and deploy my model. I'll go to Build tab, I'll go to Models, and yeah, there is no model which is available here. So I'm going to click on Deploy a base model. While dealing with this, I'm going to search for the same one, GPT-4.1. So let me just go for it. I'll select this, and I'm going to deploy GPT-4.1 model with the default settings. So deploy and default setting. Once model is selected, we can actually directly start developing application, but instead of that, we have a playground. So let me just check whether things are working in the playground or not, so that you can get an idea what kind of application we are trying to create. In order to get this application working, I need to have one additional data actually. So I'm going to just open the new tab in the browser, and in this browser page, I'm going to hit one URL. Not exactly here, but I can directly put this thing in the URL address bar. Now you can see this is one image of a mango. Now we know this thing, but we want to understand whether our generative AI application is able to understand this or not. So I'm going to just save this image somewhere in my downloads folder, which is perfectly fine. And now this image is what we're going to use right now. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this thing in my playground. And in the playground, while GPT 4.1 is selected, I'm just going to click on this attach. From the downloads, I'm going to attach that mango.jpg, which is here. And now I'm also going to put some kind of a prompt here in which I'm going to say that what dessert or desserts could I make with this particular fruit. When I submit this prompt, this is not going to be only a text prompt. This is going to be a text plus image kind of a prompt. And if my language model is able to identify which fruit is this, then based on that, it can give me the answer. Now you can see right now it's showing me that the fruit in the image is mango. And here are some of the delicious desserts you can make with it. It's showing me the options, like around 9 to 10 different options is showing me right now, which means that it's working fine. And it's giving me the response with this. Now, similar kind of a client application is what we are trying to develop in this particular lab. So in order to do that thing, I need to go back to my Visual Studio Code as usual. I'm opening my Visual Studio Code. First thing first, I will be focusing on cloning the repository. So I'm just going to go for git clone. So let's say I'm going to click on clone repository, pasting the URL of the repository. It's asking me for signing in. Let me just sign in with my account. Once this authentication is done, then we will try to do git clone. Okay, I'm going to click on clone repository again. This time I'll put the URL, and this is my MS-Learn AI Vision repository. I'll hit enter, and I will clone this in the local computer. Once it is successfully cloned, I'll click on open, and my repository is actually open in my local Visual Studio Code. Under the lab files, we have multiple sample applications. Let me just zoom it a little bit so that you can understand and see this. Now you can see we have different folders available here. For this particular one, we are going to focus on Gen AI Vision. So we are going to expand this. This is Generative AI Vision folder, inside which we have Python. And this is basically going to have my simple application code. Now you can see I also have some images here. I have mango, I have orange, and I have some mystery fruit, which is also there. We'll see that what this mystery fruit is. But yeah, this is what we are actually going to see in this. Now, right now, before we deal with this project, we need to make sure that we take care of the environment file as well as the requirements.txt file. So in order to do this thing, what I will do is I'll go to my environment file first. It's looking for my project endpoint and model deployment name. Now let me grab it from my Foundry portal. So on the home page of my Foundry, this is my project endpoint. I'll copy this, paste it here. And my model deployment name is GPT 4.1. I know that. but still I'm playing safe, and I'm going to copy the model deployment name. So this is the name which I have to paste it here. Copy and paste. Saving the file. Once you're done with this, remember the connection of this project with your Foundry project is actually established. Now it's the time you have to move forward to the next step, in which you have to take care of the dependency installation. Now for that, I am just going to right click on my requirements.txt file, open an integrated terminal. And in this, I'm going to execute three commands, which we always do. First one is python-m venv lab env, which is basically going to create my virtual lab environment so that I can take care of the dependencies within the particular folder. Let's just wait for some time. You can see lab env folder is created here, which is perfect. Now inside this lab env folder, we have a folder called scripts, and inside that we have activate.ps1. This is going to activate the lab environment, and you can see this is activated here. And now if this is done, all I have to do is pip install whatever is there in the requirements.txt. This will go to this requirements.txt file, and whatever packages you have mentioned inside that, it will download and install them. And that's what which is happening right now. Yes, as you can see, the dependency installation is actually done, so that's perfect. And this is the time we can move forward to our imagechat.app.py. This is basically that file where we are going to add our code. Now again, I have to take care of the indentation like all of the labs. So I'm going to open the notepad file. I'm going to paste my code in the notepad file first, and then I will put it inside my code file. So this is my notepad file. I'll just put the code first here, which is saying that add reference, and we are adding two references, openai as well as default Azure credentials. Now you know the purpose of these two classes because we have used this thing in many labs. It's going to take care of my project object creation, and default Azure credential is going to help me to take care of my authentication using a unique bearer token. So that's what which is there. After this, if I scroll down, this is just going to get the values of my environment variables like endpoint and model deployment. And then I have to put the code for creating an OpenAI client. This code is also exactly same what we have done in the other labs. Still, let me just put it in the notepad file first. Creating instance of default Azure credential and passing this credential while creating a next instance, which is OpenAI instance. You can see right now we are passing the OpenAI endpoint. The token provider is going to generate the API key access with this, and that's what the instance creation is doing. Doing Control X, pasting it here, saving this. If this is done, it's the time we are going to move forward to next part, which is saying that the initialize prompt is saying that you are an AI assistant in a grocery store that sells fruit. You provide detailed answers to the questions about the produce, and that's what which is actually mentioned here. Now there is one more variable called prompt, which is initially right now empty, but we'll be providing some data into this prompt when we type in the terminal. So that's what the configuration we have done in this code. After this is the important code, which is get a response to image input, and that's where we are going to add the next code. Let me open the notepad file again. As you can see here, we are trying to provide the first image here, which is orange.jpg, and based on that particular one, which is my image URL, we are trying to pass the image. Remember, you can pass on the image into this one either using a URL or maybe using a binary data. We are passing it to the URL, and based on that, we want to provide a proper input message. A developer is going to have a system message associated with that, and whatever value you have given in the prompt will be associated with this particular user content. When you do this, this image URL will be passed with that help of that prompt. So it's basically going to have text plus image both combined in one single prompt. And then whatever response is there, that's what we are going to return in this. I'll copy this, I'll paste it here, and I will take care of indentation. Let me save this file. And now it's the time we have to just save the file and run this application. In order to run this application, I'll go back to my terminal. In terminal, the first thing we'll do is AZ login because we have to authenticate our request. I'm going to sign in with my account, selecting the subscription. And if that is done, let's try to run this image. So I'm just running Python imagechat.app.py. This application will be running with this. And it's showing me some error, which is basically saying that line number 63, print response.text. Okay, so we maybe have done some mistake with the indentation, it looks like. Let me see, line number 63. Oh, yes, I forgot to indent this one. I think this is the correct indentation for this. Saving this, running this once again. When you also write code, just make sure you take care of indentation, then only things will work fine. Okay, now it's saying ask a question about the image. So I'm going to put a first prompt in which I'm going to say suggest some recipes that include this fruit. And this time, if I do this thing, remember we have passed the image of orange, so it should give me that particular data based on this. Now it's showing me 400 bad requests. It's saying missing the required parameter API version. Okay, so maybe there's something wrong with this particular one right now. Now this is something which is possible because some particular API version is actually missing in this. So let me just try to fix it. I'm running this once again, and now I'm going to put the same prompt again. Let's hope that this time it's going to work. Yes, it is working fine. You can see it's showing me that the fruit is orange actually, and then it's showing me that I can maybe go with orange slices, brown sugar, butter, cake butter. This has maybe the ingredients. I can use orange marmalade. These are the basically orange smoothie. These are the different recipes is actually showing me with this. Now, what was the issue when I was running this thing? If you check, I have just observed one thing, that this endpoint has to be the OpenAI endpoint, not the project endpoint. So I just made a mistake while copy pasting this. You also take care of this when you do this. Just make sure this is going to be your OpenAI endpoint, not the project endpoint, because we are directly using the OpenAI model in this case. So that's how it is. And this is working fine with the orange. Now let's say we want to try another fruit in this case. And that's why I want to modify the code to upload a local image file actually. So I just want to provide a particular local image file in this. Now let me change the code a little bit. So this was a straightforward and simple code. I hope you understood this, which is there in the get a response image for input. I'll remove this thing because this is having a hard code image associated with this. Instead of this code, I'm going to put a new code. So I'm just keeping this code here. Let me add a new code exactly below this so you can see the difference between them. This is also for get a response to the image fruit, but this time we are having a variable called image path. In this image path, we are going to provide a path which is, let's say, mysteryfruit.jpg, which is available in our local folder. Then we are going to provide a format. Then we'll try to open the image path. We are going to read it, and then we are going to convert that into base64 encoding. That whole data which is available inside that is going to be provided into this as a URL with this data URL. And then based on that, we are just going to get the response. So this time it's basically going to be any file which you're going to provide and upload here. I'm going to change this code. So I'll just do Control C. I'll paste it below this. I'll take care of the code block. As you can see right now, I'm just taking care of indentation, which is correct now. I'll save this file. And this time I want to run this thing, but let me show you what is that mystery fruit right now. If I right click on this and if I reveal in File Explorer, you can see I have Python folder, and inside that I have a mysteryfruit.jpg. This is actually a dragon fruit. Okay, so this is a dragon fruit. Maybe it's tough to identify right now. Let me just see what it's going to give me for this. So this is the dragon fruit, which is my mystery fruit, which I have added here. And let me try to run this again. So I'm going to quit. I'm going to run the same application again because we changed the code. It's going to ask me what exactly you want to do. I'm going to provide a prompt that what is this fruit, and then what recipe could I use it in. So let me just see whether it's able to identify this or not. You can see it's giving me the response. It's saying that this fruit is called dragon fruit, also known as pitaya, and it has a vibrant pink skin with the green scale and white or sometime as red flesh dotted with the tiny black seeds. Basically, this is what it is identifying. Then I can also create dragon fruit smoothie, fruit salad, dragon fruit ball, dragon fruit sorbet, salsa, whatever. These are the options of the recipes which is showing me right now, and that's perfectly fine. It's working fine. Now, I hope you understood. This is what we have done right now in this lab, which is basically trying to create a vision enable app. This app is not only taking text prompt, it's also taking images. It's a vision input inside this, and it's able to interpret visual input as well as it's also able to give you the proper response with this. In simple words, this app is basically using your computer vision with generative AI, both combined in one single application. I hope you understood this app. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.